Good morning. That was pretty good. That was pretty good. I appreciate that. I also appreciate getting up early on Saturday morning and coming down to visit. So we're looking at the Inspire Apps for iPad. My name is Tom Reardon, and I'll be hosting this today. So first of all, I found this. I thought this was a great start. Okay, it would have been great if it was iPad, but it's iPod. And if you can't read it, if I have 3 bones and Mr. Jones takes 2 away, how many fingers will he have left? A little bit different than you would have had before. Okay. A quote, "I am convinced that students can learn in more ways than I know how to teach." That became my mantra about the last 10 years. Okay. Not that I gave up, I just realized that I couldn't reach them all. And it wasn't their fault, it was really kind of my responsibility. Okay. And this is Stephen Reinhardt, a middle school math teacher, was in the math teacher I think in 1999, so I like that one. This one, there are 3 types of people in this world: those who are good at math and those who are not. And I have some students that say, I don't get it, and so I know what classification they fall into. Ohio State University, 1993, summer of 1993. See if you recognize either of these 2 people. Burt Waits and some guy that got really old fast. So the power of visualization now has a tactile component, and you can touch the math, which is kind of cool. 2 years ago at this conference, well, not here, but at the T-Cube conference, I think it was where was it 2 years ago? San Antonio. What was the big deal? What came out 2 years ago? The CX, color. And I used these 3 slides, so easy a baby could do it. And this is the first Reardon grandchild, Kara. She used the Inspire CX before almost anybody else. I had to have her do a non-disclosure agreement, and so I dipped her foot into ink, and her parents wanted to know why her foot was black, and I couldn't tell them because they didn't have a non-disclosure agreement. But today I'm pleased to announce the TI-Nspire App for iPad. So easy, a toddler can use it, and this is the same Kara, and she got to use it before anybody else. And you can see she was very, very happy with it. Okay? Okay? So she's not so sure about geometry, as you can see. She was not really so sure about that. But look at the expression on her face. This is my favorite right here. She got it. Okay, she got it. So anyway, 2 years ago, CX. Today, 2 weeks ago, TI-Nspire App for iPad. So that's really all I have. Okay. And it looks like it was successful. It looks like it was successful. Okay. All right. How come this is not? Oh, here we go. So here's our plan. I want to show you how the iPad can be used to interact with math using some pre-created activities. So also as an extension to as a handheld. iPad is a calculator, app is a calculator, as a grapher, and then there are other apps to integrate. Okay, so we've got a lot of things to talk about today. So first of all, I like the idea that mathematics can be felt. I know you really can't feel it. I mean, we do, but now if using the iPad with poetic license, I think our students can also. So we're going to look at some pre-created activities, but before we do this, we do have a special guest in the audience. I'd like to introduce her, and she's going to come up and either I'm assisting her or she's assisting me, but you might know Mayim Bialik from the Big Bang Theory, and she's the TI brand ambassador. So if Mayim, if you come on up and... Now, while she's coming up, I have to switch technologies over, so let me do that.
Good morning. I think it's clear I'm assisting you.
Okay.
Remains to be seen, actually.
Okay, we'll be fine. All right. So I need to set it up. And I'm going to use something called Reflector, and if it works correctly, it will mirror what we do up on the screen, so we don't have to be tethered to the cord for the projector. So let's see if this will work. Is it working? I would say it is. So we're in good shape. So,
okay.
All right. All right, so let's go ahead and this is the Inspire App for iPad, and this is my home screen. In the upper right-hand corner, it says iPad print title pages. So that's the folder we're going to be using, and I preloaded these. And we're going to start off with maybe, let's flip through, let's do that quadrants one. So if you could flip through the next page.
Quadrants, axes, origin.
Quadrants, axes, origin, okay. And let me set it up a little bit. These are all activities that have been on the handheld for a while. You could use them with the player, and now they're on the iPad app, of course. And this is a very simple one, and it's just a matter of, well, I'll tell you what you decide. Mayim's going to just put her finger on that point, drag it around the screen as our students could do, and see what happens.
Oh, yeah. There's quadrant.
And if you could hit an axis so if you pause on an axis.
Oh, dear.
There we go. So it shows x-axis. And if you go to the origin, kind of show that. And I created this one because I got students in my high school that in middle school just didn't get the quadrants or the axes.
Why are my axes flashing?
Oh, okay. All right. Those dumb axes, I can't.
Like, it's going to explode. That's my warning.
No, just tap. When you don't like things, type in some white space and it'll be good.
Okay.
All right? So anyway, I created this because I had students who were coming to me that just didn't get it, and me telling them that this is the first, second, third, fourth, and quadrant wasn't working. I needed something else. So this is something they could do on the handheld. They can now do it on their iPad app. And whose pace are they working at? Their own. And they're discovering it and a lot better than me just telling them. Okay? Perfect.
Absolutely.
All right, so now we're going to go back to home. And it's going to ask all the times we're going to keep the changes, and she's always going to discard them. You're already going to start discard them, right?
I just did.
Okay, good. All right.
It was some of my best work, but yeah.
Yeah, that was pretty good. I'll give you a Pez for that. That was pretty. There you go.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay. All right, so we'll go back to the iPad print title pages. In that upper right, okay. And how about, I know you like the area formula one, so we'll go ahead and do that one, okay. And this one is to try to help students understand the area formulas for different figures. And
Thinking.
There we go. All right.
Okay.
And I'll let you go ahead. You've done this one, so you want to talk?
No, you go ahead and start.
Okay.
I'm eating my Pez.
Okay. All right. All right. So this is going to explore the relationship among the area formulas for parallelograms, rectangles, triangles, and trapezoids. So you can go to the next slide, and see. Just go to the next tab. You just tap on the slide itself. And it says click the up triangle to show the dimension label. So we'll go ahead and click on that. And why is it base and height as opposed to length and width? I'm sorry? Parallelogram, triangle, okay, because they don't have them. So
trapezoid?
Trapezoid, yeah.
Great word.
Yeah,
great
okay.
Shape, yeah.
You like that word? Okay.
I like that word and the shape.
And also, why is that big yellow splotch on there? What am I really trying to emphasize just with that yellow part? Area, not Michigan, no. Area as opposed to perimeter. Because I don't know about you, but in Ohio, in Youngstown, where I teach, area, perimeter, and volume are really all the same, okay? It's just a matter of guessing the right formula. So anyway, let's go on to the next slide there. And we're going to look at parallelogram and rectangle, the same base, same height. All right, so go ahead to the next one. And she's going to, Mayim's going to grab point B up at the top, B on the top on the blue one, and slide it left and right, just to show that those two figures always have the same base. And she can do the height also. What else do they have the same as? They have the same what? Area. Our students don't know that, but we're hoping they get that, right? So here's the cool part. She's going to put her finger on point P, and, well, go ahead and work your magic. Oh. You're allowed to, yes. You know, I've done this talk many times, and nobody's ever applauded for that one. I've gotten a few oohs and ahs, but I never got applause, but that's okay. But anyway, look what happened. The students, I'll now ask the students, what's the formula for the area of parallelogram? And guess what they're all saying? Base times height. Because what is it? It's a rectangle with the triangle moved over. Now,
I think also this is, you know, one of the things we talk about with the Inspire, which is right here, wearing its pretty little yellow beret. This and also the app as its handy-dandy accessory allows for a visualization of a set of concepts that for many of us, we are unable to grasp until it's presented like this. And you know, as I've talked about in other arenas, I was a person for whom this stuff did not come easily to me. And I like to absolutely affirm that if I had had this kind of visualization ability, the ability to manipulate it repeatedly over and over, to not have to keep erasing and trying to do that, and also to have sort of the privacy of being able to work in my own space and at my own pace, I think this is exactly the kind of visualization and ability to kind of manipulate it by yourself that would have helped tremendously for many of us for whom it's not intuitive.
Wow, that's pretty good.
Thank you.
Yeah. Okay, so anyway, we'll go on to the next one. Oh, and also, some of you said you've done this activity before. How many of you have done with the parallelogram, cut off the triangle, taped it over? Still do that. That's great tactile learning, okay? I like this better because my students are now better with what? Their thumbs than they are with scissors. And no one's ever gotten stabbed with an Nspire yet, okay? So those... All right, so anyway, now we're going to area of a triangle, so we'll go on to that. They have the same base and height, okay? And now you can pull point, pull point B.
It's fun, you know, it's fun to do all the things.
Okay. She's having a great time with this.
Look, I'm smiling.
All right, and so we want to get the idea of the relationship between a triangle and a parallelogram, and here comes the magic time, and the directions are right on the screen. Pull point Q, all the way around. And now, my students, and here's the conversations I'm hearing in my room. Those two triangles are the same size and shape. I would love to hear congruent, but that's okay. And they form the same area as that parallelogram, which is base times height, so each one of them has to be half. How many is getting it? 100% of my students are getting that. And I'm not telling them they're getting it what? By discovering if they remember it longer, it makes sense. Plus, how often could they redo this activity? Often as they want without killing any trees, right? All right, so let's go ahead and do the trapezoid one. I think that's your favorite too, my favorite.
I was just going to do that as many times as I wanted to.
Okay. All right, so here we have a lot of middle school teachers have told me they've seen this. I never saw this relationship, okay? The relationship between a trapezoid and a parallelogram,
Sorry.
okay?
Hold on. Okay.
All right, so now go ahead and work your magic.
Awesome. It's awesome.
Now, here's the conversations I hear. Those two trapezoids together make the same area as what? Parallelogram. What's the area of the parallelogram? What's its formula for that one? Yeah, base 1 plus base 2 times height. Each trapezoid is then only half of that, okay? Now, I used to come to class, the area formula for trapezoid is 1/2 height times base 1 plus base 2. And I'd get kids say, could you find an easier book with an easier formula? Because that one's, really not working for me. And they think we make them up. Now, they don't think we make them up. What are they saying? This makes sense to me, okay? Now, how many of you used to take the trapezoid, divide it into two triangles, and say it's 1/2 base 1 times the height plus 1/2 base 2 times the height, add them together, factor out the 1/2 height times B1 plus B2, right?
You've lost me already. I'm slipping standing up.
Yes. And but see, here the thing is, it made perfect sense to me and about 4 other students in my career. And now, this is making sense to almost 100% of them, okay? And that's what we want to make them see that. So, sorry about that.
That's okay.
Okay.
I'm awake now.
So, all right, we're good. All right, so thumbs up, thumbs down, what do you think? Okay, all right. And now again, we're doing this on the iPad because we can. Where else can we do this? Handheld, software, and there's a thing called the document player. So some of you might have come to my talk on that. So, all right, back to choices, okay? You want to pick one? Which one? What's your favorite? What's your favorite?
You want to do a new one or one of our classics?
It's your choice.
You want to do function, not function?
Okay.
You want something more exciting? You can see you're not happy with that choice.
You know what? Tangents.
Some of infinite geometric series?
Yes. Yeah. That's your favorite. That's your favorite.
Well, you should have just told me what you wanted. We didn't have to pretend you were giving me choice. Because I like function or not function. Okay.
I thought we rehearsed this. I thought we rehearsed this last night. It's a script. All right. So anyway, we want to find the sum of the infinite geometric series, 1/2 plus 1/4 plus 1/8 and so on. And I know some of you are saying, I used to know that formula. I don't care about the formula. We want to get conceptual understanding, okay? So see when your students would figure out what the sum should be, all right?
Ready?
Yes.
I know there's a pacing you want me to go at. I'll do my best here.
Now,
Is anyone else excited? I'm starting to feel excited when this starts happening. Oh.
Now, what are the students going to finally come up with? What's the sum? Is it going to get to 1? But it's going to get what? So close, okay? And guess what my students will say? Why doesn't it get to 1? There's always what? Half of that little square left, right? Okay? And what 5-letter word concept that begins with L and rhymes with limit can we really develop here?
Oh, I know.
You know,
Mr.
Yes, you know this?
Limit, yes.
Limit, very good, okay? All right? We can talk about limit. We can plant the seed. And I've done this with middle school kids with great success, okay? Great success. And also, Mayim's got her Ph.D. in something.
Neuroscience.
Yes. And I think I was supposed to know that. I've got a master's degree in mathematics. This made so much more sense to me than that sum formula that I learned about geometric series, okay? And that's what I want. I want my students to have that appreciation to understand it.
And also, I think this is another one of those concepts for which to see the visual along with the fraction progression, I think, is so much more powerful. I mean, this is a concept that was taught to me many times, and this is a concept that I had to master as part of my training. But to me, to be able to present this at a level before you're at graduate school or college level, meaning to be able to bring this notion, and this is one of my favorite concepts in general, the notion that you never reach perfection, right, of 1. There's always something left over. You can always divide anything in half. This is a beautiful concept that I think the younger we can try and, this is something that would have really excited me if I could have been able to understand it earlier than I did.
Right.
Why not start, this kind of visualization with this kind of math, at a younger age? Makes me happy.
And I keep thinking of the word engagement, what this is doing. I mean, the handheld did it, okay, because you could grab and touch and click. But now with the iPad, you've got the whole deal going on, okay?
But the first time I got all emotional about this was on that Inspire.
Okay. You're dying to show that, aren't you?
I just showed it a couple times.
All right, before I forget, normally when I give a talk, I ask people, about once or twice a year, I send an email out about math technology. So I have some sign-up sheets going. If you wouldn't mind printing your name and email address, once or twice during the year, I'll email you. The last thing I just sent, I sent out 1,200 emails to tell people about the $4.99 app. Okay? So this is the type of thing I do. And if you want to ignore me, you can. But would you mind just getting those? I have several of those. Thank you very much. And since you volunteered, I'll give you a Pez for helping me out with that. Thanks. Thanks, Cheryl. Okay. All right, so sorry about that, little commercial. How about the function, not a function? Can we do that one?
You don't need to placate me, it's okay. You want to do it?
Yeah. All right, now this is like, how many of you teach whether functions are not a function by graphs? What's the test? Vertical line test. I don't think it worked as well as it does now. See what you think, okay? All right, so there's that green line, that's a vertical line, but you didn't use a line, what did you use? Pencil, ruler, meter stick, right? Okay, so go ahead. So here we go. How is this different from your pencil, meter stick, ruler?
Oh, a lot cooler.
What's this showing that we assume they got, but I'm not so sure? We have the same x coordinate, different y coordinates, right? That's what we wanted to get, right? I don't think we did it. In fact, I feel so badly about it, I'm right now in the process of emailing all of my former students and apologizing for my lack of, so anyway. You think I'm kidding, huh? All right, so anyway, how long does this take? Seconds? Now, if your students had it individually, as Mayim said, it's great, you can engage. But if you just had it just as a demo, what would this do in 10 seconds? No offense, you really can't do with your meter stick unless you draw it in. Okay, so anyway.
Also, this is another one of those things that this makes so much sense, not because I've gone through college and have a Ph.D. in neuroscience. This makes sense because this is the way this needs to be presented. This was explained to me so many times in school, and this is how it needs to be presented. To me, it's so simple to be able to see all the x coordinates the same, the y changing, where it intersects 3 times in this example. Anyway, it makes me angry at all my former math teachers. I will go ahead and send them emails.
I wasn't one of them.
Because they haven't apologized yet through email for not having this.
They might have twitted you or tweeted or something. But
That's
okay.
right.
All right, so let's now look at one of Kara. Anybody remember what the one Kara was holding that she was really happy about? Investigating slope. Did anybody see that one? Okay, so how about the investigate slope interactively? That's
in the next one?
It's back up right there. There. Okay. This one right here. Look at all the stuff that's there first. Okay, rise over run, change in y, change in x, slope, coordinates. What Mayim's going to do is touch point A and just move it a little bit. Watch all the things that change.
That's a nice one.
What all things changed? Coordinates, change in y, change in x, the slope. And for the first time in a long time, how is the slope being represented? Normally on a graphing calculator, what do you see it as? Decimal. Is that helping you at all? No. With Nspire, we have things called math boxes that we're able to make that as a fraction. In fact, how about if we make it a negative slope, zero slope, undefined? Let's just see if we can investigate all of those. Okay.
It is really cool.
Yeah.
Thank you, sir.
Once you pull it down to a horizontal, see if you can make it a horizontal so they can see that.
Well, I like to get it close.
I know you're getting close.
Yeah, okay.
All right. And then you can make a vertical one, just to show that one. And you can get to that idea of zero in the numerator, zero in the denominator is undefined. This. Now, when you do this, how many slope examples do you do probably in a period when you teach this? I'm thinking at least 4, right? You got to hit all the 4 flavors, positive, negative, zero, undefined, right? How many can they do here in a minute? As many as they want. And you're going to have kids who are going to try to break it, and they're going to, you're right? But they're going to discover a lot of stuff by it, okay? Just from the repetition and not listening, okay? And hopefully make some good, see the patterns. What's a positive slope? What's a negative slope? What's a zero? And have them discover that. So, now, most of the ones you've seen, I did not create. I'm not that clever. I did create this one, and I'm very, very proud of this one. That's 2 hours of my life I will never see again, okay? But I hope you enjoyed that for 10 seconds, all right? So, anyway.
Thank you. We all thank you.
Yeah, you all appreciate it, okay. All right, let's go ahead back. Anybody, 3D graphs, the 3D graphs, we see a 3D graph real quick. Let's just see a 3D graph. That's the 3D sombrero.
Of course it is.
Okay.
Ooh.
And go ahead, tell me what you're doing, just how easy this is to investigate.
Whee.
Okay, we're going to look at it from all different perspectives.
It's so awesome.
All different perspectives.
This is also something, this is one of the things that really freaked me out when I first saw this on the Nspire, partly because I owned a TI-81 for a million years since I was 15 years old. So the fact that it was in color, but the fact that it moved like this, the fact that you could have such a complicated visualization of a completely three-dimensional object was amazing.
And I think if we want to see what the equation is, I think if you double tap on the screen, there it is.
Of course that's the equation.
Yeah, I think that's obvious, yeah. And for those who can't see it, I think it's cosine of the quantity x squared plus y squared over 4 all over 3 plus x squared plus y squared. Many of you thought that 3 probably should have been a 4, but it's a 3. Okay. All right, so look at how, I mean, like you said, visualizing 3D graphs is just really tough on paper and pencil. All right.
Some would say impossible, because it's a two-dimensional object.
Yes. How about if we do the particle motion? This is one we never did before. She likes this. How many calculus teachers out there? AP calculus? This is position versus time. Do you have your students say what's going on here? Isn't that a fairly good question? See what's going on? Okay. How did you describe this? Would you walk it in front of your classroom? How many of your students would say, go up the hill, go down the hill, dig a trench, go down? Okay, yeah, right? Okay. But watch what happens here. Mayim's going to go ahead and click on this and watch, well, just watch what happens.
You want me to click? Or
just keep clicking. And as you could see, the time's changing. The graph, you're showing it on the graph, but we're also showing we're going to the right because what? We're in a positive direction, okay? What's going to happen at that top point there? That person's going to turn around and go backwards, okay? All right? Because now we can also talk about what? The slope of that being negative, meaning what? The velocity is negative, meaning we're going in the wrong other direction. And then when she hits the x-axis, what's going to happen? It's going to keep going left of 0, okay, in the motion part. On the other side, right, on the other side of 0.
It's mad.
Is
there we
that
go.
not, is it not
It got
clicking
mad.
well?
I'm
Okay.
trying.
Okay,
Hold
you're
on.
doing good. Okay. Now the hard part while she's doing that,
It's mad.
yeah, I think this one might work better on the handheld. What do a lot of students say happens here? I would like them to say stand still, but they don't, okay? But what happens was when I do this, I've had kids do this and they say, oh, mine's broken, it's not moving. That's exactly what I wanted you to understand, that's what that means, okay? You're staying in the same position, okay? And to me, this is just huge. This is just huge, okay? I think,
still a little bit angry
yeah,
at me.
so this one might not be as good for that one, okay? All right? How many, again, calculus teachers? Thumbs up, thumbs down, middle, okay? All right, okay, got it, all right. How about, let's go on the, oh, tangent, that tangent one. Remember that tangent one we did? Yeah. Tangents
You
to a
like
circle.
tangents.
Well, you did, yeah, I always, I kind of get off on them. Sorry. All right, so here's the thing.
If you can't make that joke with this audience, who can you make it
I
with?
know. But I don't think it would work on the set of Big Bang.
No,
no, they're not. Okay.
No.
Their characters would, but they wouldn't. All right, so anyway, how many tangents from an exterior point? What do you know about the segments BA and BC? They're congruent, and they're right, they're perpendicular to the radius and so on. If you ask the students to prove it, okay, or justify it, watch what happens here as she clicks the slider. In fact, you give me you tell me what's going on there. Go ahead and click the first one. What did we just do? The radius. What do you know about them? Click. Then what do you know? Perpendicular.
Oh, look at that. What a pretty little angle.
What else? What would you draw next probably if you were proving this? What would you probably draw in? Segment BO or OB, okay, an auxiliary line, okay? And then what we would like to do is take that triangle and show that it's congruent to what? Go ahead. This is...
Ready? Is everyone ready? Oh.
What's with the applause again? Okay? I've done this before, no applause. I've got oohs and ahs, but okay, no. But I mean, this is really gets their attention. I'm sorry, I'm not pandering. I don't think we're pandering to them. We're getting their attention with some good mathematical concepts.
It's clapping, look. Yay,
Okay.
It's clapping.
Was that to me you were doing that?
Yeah.
All right, okay. All right. Should we maybe show them a couple on the handheld, just so that you want to do that?
Sure.
Okay.
Was there anything, hold on one second, was there
Or
anything
is-
else?
yeah, well, and we could come back to it too. Oh,
Okay.
But no, is there one you like?
No, we've hit the highlights.
Okay, all right. So what we're going to do is just kind of show you again what this looks like on the handhelds. So let me see if I can...
You have a navigator on there? Yeah, okay.
There we go. Yeah.
Man.
So I'm going to turn this off so we won't mirror what's on there anymore. And I'll bring up the navigator. And so this is that area formula one. I guess we could just do maybe the parallelogram one. So what Mayim's doing is she's using something called navigator in the live presenter so that she again can walk around and use the handheld but display what's on her handheld. And so go ahead and so she's going to go to that one where we did the rectangle, the same base and height as a parallelogram. She can grab point B. In this case, she can use the mouse, the touchpad mouse, to go over to point B, Control-click to grab the point B, and move it left and right. Okay? And this is an activity that's been around for a couple of years. Okay? And then she can hit Escape, go down and grab point P, slide, and get to see that parallelogram is really a rectangle with the triangle moved over. So Control-click. Pull it over.
So awesome.
So if kids don't have iPads, which many of them don't yet, schools don't have that, but they have the TI-Nspire CX, these are the activities you can use, okay?
Okay.
Right. Did you want to do any more on there? Or
No, whatever you want.
Okay. No, this is...
I'm pretty good.
You're good, pretty good?
feeling good.
Okay, all right. You just wanted to show that? Okay. All right. So let's go back and maybe do... more. Let me see if I have reflector coming back. And I'm going to talk about what these are, by the way, so that you know how these work. And
while we're waiting.
Yes, good. I think I have to rerun.
Oh, to get it up there? Oh, look.
Yeah. Oh, yes.
That's my job.
That's your job. Yeah, that's your job.
Someone accidentally called me Penny this morning. It's like, it's like I get confused with Kaylee Cuoco all the time.
Let me see if I can get that.
And she wanted to correct herself. I'm like, no, it's okay. We'll pretend I'm Penny.
Okay, there we go. All right, so we're back to mirroring this, okay? And you pick. And I'm serious this time. I'm not going to overrule you in any way, shape, or form.
Can we do the solving quadratic equations?
Sure, okay. Anybody teach that, solving quadratic equations, right? Okay. This one, just to set it up, was created so that students could have like a teacher sitting with them, all right? So, in fact, I'll ask you and then I'll have Mayim say, click it to see what the next step would be. What would you want your students to think the next step would be? And there are several options. Just say it. Subtract 6, add -6 to both sides.
Set it equal to 0. Is that
get it equal to 0,
to
standard form, all those good things, right? So click on the top arrow there, and it'll say, in this case, I chose get one side equal to 0. The reason I put legally there
Tell us.
is I've had students just erase the 6 and put in a 0. All right? So legally, that's what I meant by legally. All right, now, what would that look like? The idea is, and the directions will be on there, do the next step, then click to see if you're right. Okay, so go ahead and see what that would look like. And if the student was right, fine, they're smiling, they're happy. If they're wrong, they can fix it. Now, here's the difference here. I like having this, either the handheld or the iPad app or whatever it is, because if they goof and I tell them they're wrong, guess what happens? They're not teachable anymore. They're mad at you, they're mad at math, they're mad at everything in the world, they don't want to be there, they're not teachable. When this tells them they're wrong, guess what? They're okay with that, because only them and the black box know that.
No, I had a really, really sensitive, it's a shame button, you know, and for some kids that are very sensitive, especially even with a teacher and especially in a public classroom arena or up on that, that board when they'd say, Mayim, come up to the board. This is a really, really kind of gentle way to work through things. I think it's brilliant, so.
Okay, well, good, anyway. All right. This is mine, by the
way. We used to have to subtract 6 from both sides.
Right.
That's like an extra step, right?
Yes,
for
right.
The remedial ones
yes,
among us.
and I probably...
Remember you would write -6, -6. Anyway.
Yep, you're right, that would do that, okay. Now, what would be the next step? Factor, okay, so let's see if you were right.
Completely.
Completely, okay.
In italics.
And then what would that look like? Okay, you can check to see if it's right. Now the next step, we aren't going to agree on this. Anybody know Jill Goff from Atlanta? I was teaching her class a couple years ago, and she likes to use this phrase. I would say set each factor equal to 0, but here's what she wanted, so go ahead and click. She liked saying the zero product property. She liked that, which is fine. I'm fine with that. Well, I wasn't, but it's okay. What would that look like would be next. And then what's the last step? Solve. And then what's it look like? All right? Now, you'll notice, what do you think of that? I know it's not really, I know it's really more textbook and procedural, but our students still need to have some of that procedure there, okay? And again, whose pace are they working at? Their own, especially if they're on their own handheld or on their own iPad,
Absolutely.
Okay? How did I use color here, by the way? The steps. When I first did this, each step was a different color. That wasn't helping anybody. It just looked like a mishmash. I wanted them to see getting one side equal to 0, that's what it is. Factor completely is in blue, that's what it looks like, and so on, okay? This is another 3 hours of my life I'll never see again, okay? But it worked. In fact, you know what a kid told me after he went through and did this? He said, I really like this activity, Miss Goff, because it goes at a perfect pace, my own. That was huge for a kid to say that. I gave him a whole Pez dispenser. Okay. He didn't know why, but I did. Okay? All right. I think you are, when does she need to leave? I want to make sure
We're good.
15 to, so we have a few more minutes. All right. Pick another one.
Okay, hold on.
Unless anybody sees one that they really like.
Oh, let's do certain pairs of angles.
Okay. All right, here we go. Sure, go ahead.
You don't seem happy with that choice. I've disappointed you again. We're doing it anyway.
You've never disappointed me.
Well, we talked about this because we were talking about protractors.
Right, yes. And I created this one. You see, any of your students, do all your students know how to use a protractor? No. She wanted to know if we still use them. What else have we got? I don't think we have like a thing you zap it or, electronic, remote control. But anyway, Mayim's going to go ahead and touch the pink. Notice what happens there, okay? And what I like is it shows. Could you make an obtuse angle? There we go. All right. What I like is the students actually see the angle as a rotation. Okay. Sometimes students think the angle size is because, well, you drew little arrows. Okay, so it's a little angle. Then when you drew it really big, like that, no matter what, on that size screen, it's got to be obtuse because it's just huge. Okay. But I wanted to see that rotation thing. In fact, if you go back to an obtuse angle, and all of you know this, okay?
Oh, hold on, wait, it's mad. Okay.
Okay. They would look at this angle and say it's 40 degrees, right? Because it's the top number, it's the big number, whatever, okay? And so I'm hoping this would help them with that. So
absolutely, because then when you go to the other side, it has to add up to 180. I mean, it's really, I just like this visualization, so.
Yeah. Now, the way I created this, by the way, is I went online and found a picture of a protractor, brought it in, put in a segment, and then put in another segment and made it so it could move, and then asked it to measure the angle that it was there. And I had to fudge around a little bit to make sure, because when I brought in the protractor, guess what? It wasn't perfectly square, so I had to really fudge to get it to work right, but another hour of my life, but it was worth it. Okay.
Diagonals of quadrilaterals?
This is one of her favorites, yes. She likes this one. I'm surprised you took so long to get there.
I know, I got excited. Yeah.
All right, so first of all, what do you know about the diagonals there? Bisect each other, okay? You guys still study that somewhere along the line? Okay. What's it got to be? Parallelogram. So let's go. She's going to go ahead and click through and show you, first of all, the quadrilateral. Okay? Mm-hmm. And then we can show the side lengths. Is that enough to say it's a parallelogram? Both pairs of sides equal. But if not, how about the angle measurements? Okay? Now, here's the part. We only did one example. How many can we do? Well, she's going to touch one of those black circles, and now we can investigate what's staying constant. It's a quadrilateral, and the diagonals are bisected. The sides aren't staying equal, the angles aren't, the sides aren't staying the same length, and the angles aren't staying the same length, but the alternate interior angles are staying equal, the opposite sides are staying equal, but all those things are changing. But the one constant is a quadrilateral with diagonals bisecting each other. That's always a parallelogram. Always a parallelogram. You really like this one.
I do. I'm also listening while I'm doing it.
No, that's good enough. Not to me, but she's listening. Okay. All right, so unit circle? You like the unit circle? That's another one of her favorites, okay? This one here.
You're talking about me like I'm a dog with favorite tricks. Like, oh, she loves that squeaky toy. Like,
Stay.
sorry.
This is my last appearance with Mayim, isn't it? Okay. I'm going to live it up then, okay? All right, so go ahead.
Sorry,
go ahead.
Okay.
It worked so well last night, I don't know what happened. All right, so anyway, this is the unit circle. It says the angle changes in steps of pi over 12. This one kind of is, well, go ahead, just kind of show them.
This is another one of the reason that it is one of my favorites. This is another great visualization of a super duper awesome but abstract concept. And if this had existed, it would have saved me many hours of my life. Okay.
Now, while she's doing that, those of you who teach this, what's going on here? Right? We're taking the second coordinate of the point on the unit circle and transferring it over onto a graph. I used to do this by hand with a board compass. Anybody know what a board compass is? Okay. How long did it take me to do this? right? How long did it take, though? A long time. By the time I was finished, they didn't care what I was trying to do. Because who was doing it, by the way? What were they doing? Kind of just watching. Well, maybe not even, right? They were wandering off.
Best part.
There, yes.
Such a satisfying line.
There we go.
It's fantastic.
So, I mean, right there, and again, now whose pace do they get to work at? Who's engaged? You know, they're all doing it. I mean, and then they get the smile like mine, got that smile at the end. Okay? Now, there's another one. We won't have to do the other one, but guess what the other one is? Wild guess.
Oh, let's do it. Come on.
Okay, all right. Hey, I'm not arguing with you anymore. I got that.
Yeah.
So, and by the way, the reason the sign was first, it's easier to see that second coordinate move over than the first coordinate, because the first coordinate is now becoming the second coordinate on the graph, and that was just too tough for my students to get. So we put that second. And so we got the cosine.
Wait for it. Oh, yeah. It's so gratifying. Okay.
You don't get out much.
No, I do not, actually.
Okay. I don't know if we have any more left, because we have time for, I think, one more, and then that will do it. So we didn't do domain and range. Can we do domain and range?
Sure.
Yeah. How many of you teach domain and range from a graph? How many of you are successful at it? This is a tough one. It is a tough one. For example, this one right here, if I want to find the domain and range, my students have a hard time with this. But you know what? Can we go back a couple slides before we do that? Let's go back to the one with just the segment first.
This?
I think, yeah, that's
the first?
it.
Okay.
This is not too hard, but for a lot of students, this is what? They really don't see it. So when they don't see it, guess what their common answer is? All real numbers. The domain's all real numbers, range is all real numbers. So watch what she's going to do. She's going to grab point P and slide it along the graph and help the students visualize the domain and range. Okay? So grab it, pull it all the way down so we can see it all the way down there, too.
Where, down here?
Yep, all the way down. Yep. To the end point, all the way down, yep. Now, I've had teachers complain and say, you're giving them the answer. I know. I've given up. They haven't gotten with everything else I've gotten before. They have to visually see the shadow of the x-coordinates and the y-coordinates. They need to see that.
There was no way this was visualized for me when I was learning. I mean, with function or not function, you know, you'd do the ruler and you'd go. There was no visualization for this at all.
No, I know. And I mean, look what this does, okay?
This was one of the things that made me insane. Yeah. I mean, I remember this even in elementary, you know, when we started it in late elementary, this made me crazy because it was not able to be visualized.
All right, well, I want to thank Mayim for being a good sport, and I hope that I get to see you again sometime. So,
thank you.
So again?
See you later.
All right, we'll see you.
Have a good day. Oh.
Have the handheld?
This is not awkward at all.
Oh, no, no. Bear with us just for a minute, okay?
We have a little photo shoot to do.
And of course you want me in it, right? I mean, no. Good. I'm sorry? Yes, I will.
You didn't know y'all were coming to a photo shoot, too. How you doing this morning? Hi, nice to meet you. You were done anyway, right, Tom?
I didn't realize he needed that again, so. Here, wait a minute, here we go. There's something.
Thank you. Okay, now I'm really leaving.
No. Okay.
Bye, guys. Have a great day.
All right. You're going to still stay, right? Because I'd feel really bad if you left right now. I can't afford that, but if that's what I need to do, I will do it. All right, so what I need to do is have that reflections come back up again. I didn't realize I was going to need it again. And okay. All right, so what I'd like to do, here are the things still on my list. I want to show you the app as a calculator. I want to show you as a grapher. I want to show you how you can take pictures and get them and bring them in with your iPad. And other apps. There are two of them I've been using, Reflector and Splashtop Whiteboard. Thank you, thank you. Yeah, and are these still going around, I hope, with the email addresses? Everybody signed one, I hope, or written one? So if they haven't, please keep those going. Okay, and I'll get those at the end. Thank you. Also, when you leave, and please don't leave now, but when you go out those doors, you can't go out those doors that are right there. Those are emergency exits. You have to go down the hall. I've been told that, so make sure you do that, okay? Yes, sure.
Somebody asked from your earlier session about the iPad app, $4.99. They went to our website looking for it.
Oh, okay.
It's not on our website. It's on iTunes, and it's still tomorrow night at midnight.
Okay,
It's a huge special.
and I'm glad Jamie said that, and I'm going to add on to that. I'm going to show you how you can get, many of you might want to buy more than one while it's $4.99, and I'll tell you how you do that. You gift yourself it, and you send you an email, and you can give it away. So I will talk about that towards the end. That hopefully will make you stay. All right, so let me go ahead and mirror this. And for some reason, now that Mayim left, this doesn't want to work. So let me try this one more time. I can also go on the old-fashioned way, but I don't want to do the old-fashioned way. Okay, I will do the old-fashioned way, so sorry about that. Fortunately, this probably never happens in your classroom. All right, how's that? That good? Now, I'm not using Reflector, so I'm going to be hooked up to this wired, which is probably how many of you might have to use it at first, okay? And I'll talk about Reflector. And I think the reason Reflector isn't working, I'm probably turned it off and turned it on too many times. I might have to reboot. You don't want to watch me reboot. I don't want to watch me reboot, okay? So let me go ahead back to Inspire. And this time, this is the home screen on Inspire, the iNspire app for iPad. I'm going to go ahead and press the plus sign here in the upper left-hand corner. And to add a document, you start off and say, well, what do I want to do first? Well, I'm going to add a calculator. So this is like adding a new document. And I want you to, and the reason I'm doing this is, a lot of times you'll see all these great activities. And by the way, all the activities I've shown you and everything I'm going to talk about is going to be available on Dropbox. And I will tell you how you can get them. In fact, all 4 of my talks from the conference are going to be in my Dropbox account, all the things that go with them. Everything will be there. Tomorrow, because the conference isn't over until then. I'll have it all set up so you can get all those things. What I was afraid was that you'd see all these activities that Mayim showed you, and you think that's all it does is do those activities. Guess what else this does? It's still what? A graphing calculator, okay? And it does all those things. The only thing is it's touch. So for right now, notice I got on a calculator page, and look at the wonderful keyboard that's here. This is like having math type at your fingertips, okay? And this is only on the iPad app. This is not a keyboard that comes from Apple, okay? And guess what my 4 favorite keys are? See those little arrows? You know when on an iPad, if you want to go and you want to go between the 1 and a 3, have you ever tried to go between a 1 and a 3 on your iPad with your fat finger? Doesn't work. Guess what you can do? Use those little arrows to move around, okay? Now, if you don't want that keyboard, there's another one. Guess what the other one is? It's your old ABC one, and you can toggle back and forth between them, okay? And look what's all on this keyboard. You've got almost everything you want, okay? Do you notice the blue bar? There's supposed to be a blue bar above some of them. Take a while, guess what that means. I'm going to touch it. There's more stuff there. So if I want to talk about the inverse sign, I touch it and slide over and say I want the inverse sign of, let's say, 0.5. What mode must I be in? Must be in Reardon mode. So we should probably change that, huh? So I'm going to go up to the little sprocket and say, let's change the angle from radian to degrees. Has anybody ever used gradients? Have you used them in trig class? Good for you, because I never did. I never did. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go up and tap on what I had before, copy and paste it. I'm sorry. And enter. And now I'm getting that 30, okay, just because I could. And if I wanted to say edit something, I could go back up and double click on it and then tap it down here to paste it. And then with those arrows, look how I can go backwards and get inside there with those arrows. Those arrows are great, okay, just so you know, all right? Also, there's a bunch of templates here that you would like the summation one. Oh, yeah, summation one. And you can go n equals, and again, I'm going to use the arrow, equals 1 to, or of n. To 100. Okay, so those are all in there. This is a graphing calculator, so don't think it's just a player of files that you have. It's a graphing calculator. Whole bunch of other stuff there. I'm not going to go into all of it. Other variables, like look at x. If I touch x, look what other variables are available. X, y, z, and t go along with it. Guess what's with r? Take a wild guess what's with r. Theta's there also, okay? With n, we've got the, I, j, and k that are there. A, B, and C are there. Oh, and under enter, this is one thing you got to realize, because I didn't realize it right away. What's there? Approximately, and the last answer. We've got, with the 84 and the Inspire, we've grown to love and want to use those. They're there. And the last one, for old people, that's called a carriage return. Okay? It's just for old people like me. Okay? So anyway, I love it as a calculator. Just be aware of it. Okay? As a grapher, I'm going to go ahead and add another page with graphs. And notice this immediately, what's it asking for? In the function input line, what do you want to graph? So we'll make this kind of easy, like x squared minus 4. And there it is. And what can I do with the graph? Everything I've done with Inspire before, which includes touching it at the vertex and moving it around and seeing how the equation changes. Let's undo that. Or I can look at how it dilates. I'm investigating things that used to take me an entire period to do. And they'd watch me do it instead of them doing it themselves, okay? If I want to get another function in there, I'll just double tap and see another function like x plus 2. And if I want to find points of intersection, that's where this handy toolbox comes in. See that wrench? Okay? And what I'd like to do is use a geometry feature where I find the intersection points between this graph, touch, and this graph, touch. And there they are. Okay? Find them all. On the 84, how many can you find at one time? One. Okay? Also, what happens if I change this? Watch what happens if I rotate the line. Not only is the line change in its equation, but the what? Points of intersection dynamically go along with it too. Okay? So that's kind of cool. How are we doing? We all right? Okay, we're good with that? Okay. It's a grapher. A lot of things we can do as a grapher, but I think that would be enough there. Okay. How about if we add a picture? So I'm going to go ahead and add another graph page, and just click there. I'm going to go up to the camera in the upper right-hand corner, and I could either take a photo or add one that I already have. Well, almost 2 weeks ago, my daughter gave birth to her first child, and we were staying in a hotel, and as I was standing at the elevator waiting for it, look what I found. Add photo. You see it? And what did I have to do? I took a picture of it. My wife said, "You're taking a picture of the floor right outside the elevator." I had to go back to the room to get the iPad to do it. She said, "Why don't you just use your phone?" I said, "The phone's too small." It takes the picture, okay? But no, I had to say, but what did I need to do with this? I had to model that sine curve, right? Now, I don't want to take that time to do it because it takes a while. So let me just go ahead and show you what it looks like, because I did do it. Let me go back, and I took a picture of it after I did it. Okay? I think it was obvious to all of us that this would be the equation that would model that. But here's the thing. How many of you teach trig graphing like that, okay? How much mathematics is going on here to figure that out? They got to find the max, they got to find the min, the coordinates, they got to find the point, maybe the point of inflection. Then they got to start talking about, well, how do you find the period? How is that related to the coefficient b? You know, how's the phase shift? What's c, d, amplitude? All that great stuff is there. So how would you like this? Go out with your iPad, take a picture of something that looks like a sine wave, bring it in, and find the equation that models it. They can't cheat because what? Everybody's got this different picture, okay? And they're going to want to do it because guess whose picture it is? Theirs. Whose pace are they looking at? And they're going to take some cool pictures and say, look at my picture, look at this picture, and so on, okay? All done on the same thing, okay? Now, what probably should I have added to this grid that would have made life so much easier for them to pick out max and min? Or to the axis. I should have added a grid, right? And I can do that, okay, which is very, very nice. You can add the grid on the Nspire. So I'm going to go ahead and just kind of show you how you do that. If I go back to the graphs and back to there, if I want to view the grid, there's the line grid right there, okay? And that's kind of huge, okay? Now, by the way, everything I show you can also be done where? On the handheld, okay, and on the software, and even using the player, just so you know, okay? How are we doing? All right? Okay? All right, so we've got pictures, we've got Grapher, we've got Calculator. Now the other apps, one of the apps I did at the beginning was I would like to use the emulator software. Let's say you don't have the iPad app, which is fine, or you don't have an iPad. But you do have the software and you have the emulator. How many have used the emulator at all in Nspire? Okay. How many used to use the 84 emulator, SmartView emulator? Okay. I'm very proud to tell you I was the person who asked TI to develop the SmartView, okay, TI for SmartView. And it took me several months to convince them to do it. Isn't that like one of the coolest things, though, especially if you have an interactive whiteboard? They didn't get to see that, okay? And now everything they make, guess what they have? SmartView, okay? So I'm glad that they did that, okay? So let me show you how you can use another app, and if you don't have an iPad, if you have an iPad but you don't have the iPad app, how you can use it as an emulator. So I'm going to go ahead and bring up Smart Notebook, and there we go. And let me add a page there. And so this is this, and this is what Mayim was doing. She was being live presenter, so I'm going to go ahead and stop being presenter. And I don't know why I have that white. Oh, you can't. That's right. You can't see. Huh? Sorry about that. There we go. And I'm not sure why I have that white box there, but I want to go ahead and show a document. And this is the handheld right here, right? And I'd like to be able to see just the keypad, because if I show that, you can see the side screen right here, okay? Now, wouldn't it be nice if I could go ahead and touch this and be able to show what's happening? In fact, that's how you do it on your smart boards, interactive whiteboards, right? Okay? But what if I could do that with my iPad and walk around the room? How many of you have ever used like an Airliner or a Smart Slate or a Mobi or something like that? Your iPad can now do that. Not just with Nspire, but everything. You can now have this be your tablet, okay, your wireless tablet to control the classroom, okay, as a presentation tool. And what I'm going to use is something called Splash Top Whiteboard. And to do that, you have to have software running here on your computer. That software is free. And the other is you have to have an app called Splash Top Whiteboard running on here, which is not free, okay? And right now what it's saying is it's connecting to my computer. And the way it's doing it is you must be on a wireless network. This and your computer have to be on the same wireless network for it to work. And if my classroom wouldn't have it, guess what I use for my wireless network sometimes? my phone has a hotspot. So I'll just go ahead and connect both of those, all right? I'm afraid to look, but is it up there? Oh, good. That is so nice, okay? Now, I don't know why there are white boxes there. That's annoying. I got a feeling that's a Windows thing that's mad at me, but, so I'll just say okay. And I'm going to use it as stylus just because my fingers are kind of thick here. All right, but I want to go ahead and add a graph, so I'll go ahead and press number 3. By the way, you'll notice the last thing that I press shows up in red. I said I wanted a graph, and I don't think it gave me one, did it? I'm sorry? Oh, I hit geometry. Oh, geez, that wasn't very good. All right, so let me go ahead and insert. So let me go control. That white box is throwing me off here. This is not what I wanted to do. So I'm going to insert a graph. And so I'll go ahead and type y equals, say, x squared. And I can do this as I'm walking around the classroom. So y equals x squared, and enter. And so now I can control this, and everything is on my computer. Now, what will this run? Anything that's on my desktop computer will run. If you have PowerPoint or Word or the internet or whatever you want to do, you're now running this as a tablet, a remote tablet. It's kind of like having a wireless mouse, okay, right there. Okay, right there, okay? So, because how many of you use a smart slate or an airliner? What do you see when you look here? Nothing. You see, okay? So you have to look up there to see what's going on. Not the case here, okay? So thank you, Mary. That was a good point. That's a Pez-worthy one. By the way, this Pez dispenser was given to me by people in Philadelphia last summer. They created Inspire Man. Okay, it's Captain America, but he has an N on it, and there's a picture of the graphing calculator. So thank you. You have to take it out. The user interface isn't that good. There's Splashtop is a company that has several products. Splashtop Whiteboard is the one I want. I don't know what the other ones are. One of them allows you to actually connect your computer remotely and do stuff from it. Okay? But Splashtop Whiteboard has like marking tools and things like that, so you can use it as almost like a smart board. Okay? So that's the one I prefer, but I don't know about the other ones. Okay? I don't use them. Okay? What happened here? Okay. That was not planned. So, okay. All right, so let me go ahead and bring back the cast. And sometimes you will lose a connection, and like right now it's saying losing connection, trying to reconnect. That sometimes does happen, and it's usually a function of your wireless. If your wireless isn't strong, weird things happen, okay? Just so you know. All right, so there we go. I can go back and touch and go to the previous page. Got the idea? I don't want to spend too much time, but you got the idea. Splashtop Whiteboard, you know, that's an option. Thank you for coming. I'll be around to answer questions. Have a great conference.